Alright, so I want to make this video because I'm going to be reviewing Light of the World, and and unfortunately because of that I've reviewed two Angel Studios movies, which I don't like doing, and I've started a couple of these reviews with that disclaimer, hey, don't like reviewing these movies, yada yada yada. And I don't really want to keep having the disclaimer if I choose to review one of these, so I just want to make a video explaining why I don't review Angel Studios movies, so that way I can not have to keep restating that in every one of the videos where I choose to review Angel Studios movies. Just understand this is why I don't do that. You know, some might disagree, I guess. Also, this video is going to be largely, I want to say political, but it's not really the point of the video is to be political. The point of the video is just to share my thoughts about something that bothers me and why I don't choose to support this company, and also just like these movies aren't as political as people pretend they are, so keep that in mind when I'm talking. But yeah, if you're like someone who literally is just a normal person who doesn't really like political discussions, or, you know, you're a Republican, get the fuck out of here. I guess I'm not actually that harsh. Like, I don't really care what side the aisle you are if you watch my videos, but in this case, I kind of do. Let me explain. Give me 1 second to close that door. My dog opened the door. I guess first I should state some stuff about me, and then I'll get into what Angel Studios is. I grew up in a very religious household. I still live with my parents just because I'm, a young adult still figuring stuff out. And growing up religious was not my choice. I was kind of forced into it a lot of ways. When you're younger, you just kind of have to go to church because that's what is expected of you. I've always hated it. At some points I felt like I really was into it, but it was just because, when you grow up, that's what's expected of you, and so you just kind of eventually follow along, and then as you get older, you start questioning things, and find your own path. Some people choose to stay in religion, some people choose to leave. I left. Doesn't mean I don't have my own personal faith. I do, but one of the big reasons was because I love art, and if you know anything about growing up deep within religion, they try to tell you what you can and cannot watch, and how you're supposed to feel about certain things. And there was a lot. So when I started growing up, I started realizing how many things were not what they were made out to be. Halloween was the first horror movie I ever saw, the John Carpenter one, the original. And I watched it and I was like, this isn't that violent. And I'm like, how many of these rated R movies where I told were these awful things that I can't watch and this and that? And then I discovered it wasn't that. And then I watched this and that. And then I started reading more, listening to music. And, and then also the more I got into understanding of politics and things like that, you got a real understanding that religion just lies to you and they want to control you. And one of the ways they try to control you is art. They tell you what you can't watch, how you can experience it, how you can win. So I really thought that was interesting, growing up in that side of life. And I just wanted to explain that so you understand where I come from when we talk about this, too. So now for what Angel Studios is. So Angel Studios is not actually a production company. I mean, they kind of are, but for the most part, what they are is they are a distribution company. They are a right-wing distribution company that's kind of become the answer to the anti-woke movement for the far right. Basically, there's a group of people on the far right who believe that every movie that the left makes is way too political and shouldn't happen, and we should not allow that to happen anymore. So their answer to movies being too political is to make more movies that are political but on the opposite side of the aisle. You see the hypocrisy on there? You see that? Like, hey, Republicans believe that movies are too political, so they make more leftist-leaning movies as a way to, not leftist, but more right-leaning movies to deal with that. Doesn't make any sense to me, right? But, yeah, so the problem with reviewing these movies is, I don't get much out of it. For one, they acquire a lot of religious movies, and reviewing religious movies is not fun because none of them are good. Some of them are kind of funny with how absurd some of the morals on them are, like the God's Not Dead movies. Like if you try to like watch that from a moral perspective and what actually happens in it, you will laugh your ass off, right? Because it's not great. But at the same time, I don't like watching stuff like that because it just makes me sick to my stomach, because I know that there's people actually think and believe like this, and no matter what I say about that movie, they will keep believing it. So, Republican movies are not made for all Republicans. They're actually just made for people who are so deep in the cult that they literally cannot leave. Like, think about the people who literally Trump talks about when he says shit like, I could shoot a man on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. When he says shit like that, that's the people we're talking about these movies are made for. People so deep into that they don't even like think like normal people. And so if I reviewed the movie, it would just be me trashing a movie that isn't fun for me to talk about or watch because it's not good. It makes me sick to my stomach because morally it's just really fucked up. And then I review it for an audience who probably will search up my name. Well, not my name. They'll search up, blank movie review. And then they'll see I reviewed the movie, click it. They'll watch my review and go, oh my God, this leftist psycho doesn't like blah, 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 So, so it's not like fun. It doesn't create fun movie discourse. Which I don't really review movies for an audience per se. If you know why. So why I do YouTube is this is a hobby I like doing. It's an outlet. I like it, and so I think that's fun to make videos like that. But it's also fun when I get comments and nice stuff. I get that sometimes, and I do try to answer all your comments and stuff. So feel free to comment on this video as long as it's not horseshit. It makes it very awkward to review their movies. I'm just not a fan of reviewing these movies for this reason. They are not great. But, and part of me does feel bad because some of these movies, like Light of the World, are movies that are like okay to decent kind of movies, and part of me would be okay with watching them if they weren't released by Angel Studios, because the company's so into like supporting QAnon and all this stuff. Like, I don't want to support them. So it's a whole thing of that. It's just not, it doesn't create more great discourse. Their morally is not great, and they're just not great movies. I think it'd be easier if they were great movies, because like, how many companies do we all support? Like, you drink Coke products, right? I drink Coke. Coke is a fucked up company. They have terrible business practices. They do all kinds of crazy shit. Pepsi, Walmart, McDonald's, like, these are all things we consume that have problems, that morally, but at the same time, we don't boycott them. So I think the other part of it is like, hey, if these were great movies, it'd be a lot easier to like support them, especially since I support all kinds of filmmakers who aren't great people and have done a lot of shitty things, right? So there's a whole mix of things of why I just can't review Angel Studios movies on the regularly. The other problem, I just want to mention this as kind of a last note, and then we'll end this video. I just don't have a lot of time. If I sat and watched every movie, that would be insane. You gotta understand. I want to watch a movie a day at home, and sometimes I end up watching 2 to 3 movies in the theaters because I'm literally that short for time. The new Conjuring movie came out this weekend. I wanted to see it Saturday. It is now Monday, and I'm not seeing it until tomorrow. And then after I get done watching it, I have to clock my ass into work. I do not always have time to watch movies that I want to make videos about or just see because I like movies. And if I did, that would be great. I would love that. And maybe I would review more Angel Studios movies because I would have infinite time, right? But I don't. If I miss out on tons of things I want to see. I wanted to see that new Ron Howard movie. whatever it was called. I forget what it was called. I wanted to go see that. Did not get to see that because I just don't have that time. I didn't see that new Sweeney Western movie. Wanted to see that. It's a matter of time too. I'm not wasting my time in movies that are just gonna make me angry and make my day worse, right? I don't want to do that shit. It sucks. It makes me angry.